Hi, this is Naomi with the Naomi Butler Show. I'm going to wave at you with gesso on my hands. I am going to show you now, after I have sanded down the molding paste as good as I could, because it's a fine sander and there's no sharp edges. There's still raised edges, but they're not sharp. And so what I've done is I've put some gesso on a paper plate, and I've got my cheap brush. This is one of those Artists Loft cheap brushes, and you can tell I've used it a lot because it's kind of rusting here, but that's okay. It is not one I use for varnishing. Anything you use for your paintings with acrylics and gesso is a separate brush. Anything used for varnishing is a totally separate brush, and I even write on it with a black magic marker varnishing brush only for the ones I use to varnish with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some gesso, and we're going to, and I'm going to do this on both canvases, all over the canvas. Now what I'm doing is, the reason I was telling you you want to use an old brush or a cheap brush is because there's little crevices where the molding paste was. So I'm kind of getting in those crevices, and I've had some paintings where I've had molding paste and it was really had like dens in it, if you will. And so you want to make sure you cover every spot. That way when you paint, it's got the ground to go on, to paint on. So I'm going to take this gesso and cover both canvases completely. Even though there's areas that didn't have molding paste, I'm still going to put gesso on it. And because I like texture, I'm going to have some areas that have a little bit more of that gesso texture on top of the molding paste texture. Now, as you can tell, I'm putting it on pretty thick around those molding paste areas, but I'm really digging in to make sure that I get in the crevices of where the molding paste was. So I'm just giving you a little visual, and I'll turn the phone camera just a little bit so you can see. Hopefully it doesn't fall into it. But this is where I'm pushing the brush into those crevices and just making sure I'm covering the whole thing with gesso. This will take quite a bit of gesso doing this, but it's okay. It's part of the process when you're using molding paste. You don't want to just paint directly. I guess you could, but this gives it the ground. You need a ground for your paints to really adhere to so that they're adhering very well. So I'm just giving you a visual on this area, and I'm going to do this all over this canvas. So I'm just doing a short little video for you just to show, and everywhere there's thick raised molding paste, I'm really digging in with the brush to get it inside every little nook and cranny. So hopefully that helps you to know what to do if you use molding paste. And some areas, like this right here, is not raised as much, so it doesn't require a lot of extra push and pull. But if you're using molding paste where you're just doing a tiny bit of texture, you still want to cover it with gesso. Hopefully that helps. When I get through the next one, you're going to love the different painting brushes that I'm going to use. I'm going to use that one that I showed in one of the videos, and I'm going to show you this one. Sorry, it's still got the plastic wrap and I wasn't prepared for you, but I'm going to take the plastic wrap off and give you a visual. Bear with me, hold on. This is something I'm going to use to paint with. You see that? It's a brush, but it's like little plastic things. Anyway, I'm going to use that to paint the first paint that goes on these canvases. That will be so awesome. Anyway, see you on the next one. Thank you.